Well, that could be a problem. Yeah. You need a couple of spaces for that. Are we there? Are we live? We're live? Okay, we're going to get started. If our council members could take their seats, please. I know.
Great idea, Tim.
But
I like it.
we're live. Okay. I'd like to call the Ravenna City Council Committee of the Whole meeting for December 22nd to order. Ms. Greger, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Kelfi?
Here.
Ms. West?
Here.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Here.
Mr. Maravich?
Here.
Ms. Michael?
Here.
Mr. Harper?
Here.
All right, thanks for all of you showing up tonight. Thanks for people in the audience coming tonight. And apologies to those watching from home. We had some technical difficulties, so we are running a little late. We'll try to catch up as quickly as we can. First item on the agenda for the committee meeting is the approval of the committee of the whole meeting minutes for November 17th, 2025. Does anybody have any corrections, modifications for those minutes? Hearing none, can we get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, those meeting minutes are approved. The next item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract for dispatch services. This is from Public Health and Safety. Ms. Michael?
Yeah, this is for Charleston and Edinburgh, and we have talked about this, and we're excited to keep them on with us.
And this is scheduled to be, we're going to schedule it to be on the special because their
Right, so
current
it can be on-
contract expires at the end of the year. What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Consent.
Well, for a special meeting, we don't have a consent agenda.
Okay.
So, but I get your point. We won't have it on it. We won't have a consent agenda, but we will have it on the regular,
But won't it be part of the consent agenda at the next meeting?
No, because this is going to be on the special meeting on December
Okay,
29th.
gotcha. Okay.
Okay, everybody know what's going on?
Yep.
All right, next item is an ordinance authorizing the funding and expansion of the cold storage building on Spruce Street. Also from Public Health and Safety, Ms. Michael?
Yes, Chief Chappell was here at committee, and he talked in length about this. This is also with the police department, and this is going to help with the storage, and the additional space is needed right now with everything they have, and especially with some of the new equipment. So this was discussed, and we decided as a committee to bring it forward. Any questions?
Yeah, questions or concerns about this ordinance? Hearing none, what is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Would you like to place this in the consent agenda?
Yes.
Next item is an ordinance limiting the hours and location of parking on Meridian Street between Riddle and Harris. This is from Streets and Sidewalks. Mr. Harper?
Yes, this was brought forward by a resident, someone that works in the administration building. We also did receive, Chelsea received correspondence from someone that owns property on the corner of Harris and Meridian, and is stating that they do not have a driveway for parking for families that live at that particular residence. If this is the corner I'm thinking of, I believe there is spaces on that side of the street that are designated for parking. It's not, and I believe those spaces go all the way up to the administration building. Is this individual or anybody here tonight that would like to address this?
Yeah, please come up to
the
the microphone.
microphone.
We own the building on the corner of Harris and Meridian. It's got 4 units in it, so we do have one drive off Harris that the one resident uses. The other 3 residents do use that off to the side parking. It's not on the main road, it's cut out. They literally would have nowhere else to park if we kept that.
That area of Meridian, I believe, is wider all the way up to the administration building. I know there are dedicated on-road parking spots. This ordinance doesn't intend to address any of those spots, change any of those spots, deny people from parking there. It's just in the two main lanes of traffic, with the amount of traffic that flow to the administration building and the BMV. If people are parking in those main lanes, it causes a hazard. That's what we're, trying to avoid.
And I haven't seen any of our tenants park down that way or across the street where it would impede traffic.
We will look at that. We will make sure that there's parking available for those tenants
Thank you.
going forward.
And I'll make a comment pertaining to what she said. I know even the previous landlord had those specific spaces for those renters, and I'm going to say that goes back for decades.
Yeah, I've never,
Fortunately, we're landlocked in
Yeah.
that location.
Yes,
so
but I do remember that, and I'm totally backing up what your statements are.
Appreciate that.
yeah, I've never noticed that particular unit ever being an issue on the road for all the years that that I've been in that area. So I think you're fine.
Thank you.
Thank you for.
So I guess as we prepare this ordinance, we'll have to figure out how to carve that out, whether, and I'm not familiar with the exact area, whether we can exclude the entire street, part of that street, or just make an exception for those spaces.
I don't know if they're actually marked. I know further up
Yes.
towards the administration building, they are marked. They may need refreshed, the paint.
Yes.
Oh,
But
okay.
we will follow up with that.
Okay.
And I mentioned at the last meeting, I know you guys are talking about only, certain times, but I think it's very important that that street is still, if you're going to make parking available to park on the street, it's only one-sided. That street is not wide enough to have parking on both sides of the road. So that has to be addressed at the same time or shortly after, because if not, you're going to have people parking on both sides of the street. And I talked with Mr. Finney about this, and there's a lot of these roads that he agrees with that it's not meant to have parking on both sides of the road.
Yeah, we've also discussed that, and that may be something we take a look at, more of a citywide approach than a street by street, because if we went street by street.
Well, I know, but as you're making one place, my point is if you're going to make it parking on that road, at the same time, why wouldn't you just make one side at the street at the same time versus having to come back and do it as a, street by street? You're already addressing that street. So if you're addressing that street, why not just address that street at that time and be done with it instead of creating another issue after you make that street able to park on the road? That's all I'm saying.
Matt, I think that where she is talking about hers and in front of the License Bureau, it's actually wider through that area where the old hospital used to be in the admin building is. It's wider and there's designated parallel parking down there.
From the administration building
Down-
south to
Back.
Harris.
Yes.
On.
It's actually wider and there's
Right.
designated parking spots in there.
Right, yeah. And those spots will not be affected by this 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock ban.
Well, let's just make sure Ms. Michaels' concerns are somehow incorporated into this one side or the other totally. And your suggestion is,
Well, yeah,
even
the-
on the hours when parking is available, it'll only be available on
On one side, because the fire chief did talk about it when we had our last meeting, that it does create a safety issue on that street. And they're finding issues on other streets where it becomes quite dangerous for, fire trucks and ambulances to get down these roads. And they are narrow. And when you're starting to have vehicles park on both sides of the road, and if it starts happening, I just think it makes more sense to address it at the time and make only parking on one side of the street. And especially, that street is a very busy street. So that's what I'm saying.
I think really quick, I just wanted to add, the other thing to consider is if we're limiting parking, people might want to park in the spots that are right in front of that building, that apartment building. So we might want to consider I don't know if we could permit or have designated spots specifically for the apartment building, because if parking is limited, and people want to park on the street, they're going to take those spots, and then those tenants aren't going to have a place to park. And they don't have a driveway or anywhere else to go. So that's just something else to keep in mind as we look at it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a concern or not. I mean, that's,
No.
but those parking spaces are public, the part of public street, right? So can the city say
I
that
don't
only
know,
a
I'm just
private?
saying, if I was a
Yeah.
tenant there and I'm so used to parking right there because there's no driveway, there's no other way to park, and someone that works, in one of the businesses right there or another place starts parking right there.
No, I
And I
hear-
have
I
nowhere
hear
to
what you're
park my
saying.
car.
I'm just not sure what the solution
Yeah,
is.
that's kind of,
It might take, this may take more than a single meeting to resolve, and we
for
may have
sure.
to talk to the law director about how to craft this particular ordinance. It sounded simple when we first started talking about it, but the more we talk about it, the more complications
simple,
are
Rob.
introduced. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, what is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
ordinance, yeah.
Let's not put this in the consent agenda. There seems to be outstanding issues that we don't want to, ignore. All right, so we'll leave that on the regular agenda. The next item is an ordinance to authorize $23,000 and enter into a contract for emergency sewer improvements. This is from Utilities. Mr. Moskin?
Yes, for sanitary sewer improvements in the Oakwood, between Oakwood and Diamond, right in those specific areas. So it's something that needs to be addressed very soon.
And this was, I believe, an emergency issue?
Yes.
Mr. Finney? Okay.
Yes, it was.
So as soon as it can be started, the better.
And this is going to be on our special tonight? Okay. Any questions or concerns? What's the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
The next item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Triad Communications, Inc. This is from Planning Committee, Ms. West.
And this is a contract with Triad for marketing and education if we were to put a levy on the ballot.
Okay. And that was the result of your committee meeting?
Correct. As a result of the committee meeting and the group that was working together had narrowed it down to, had kind of reviewed and looked at the bids and figured out, and Triad was the group that they had chosen to complete the work.
Okay. Any questions or concerns about this? Hearing none, what is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
And I don't want this on consent.
Okay, good enough. We'll put this in the regular agenda. All right, the next item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with GPD Group, also from planning.
This is a contract with GPD Group to do a safety analysis on the corner of 14 and 44. A lot of traffic comes through there, right?
No, I think it's
14
88.
88, thank you. The ODOT's doing the other one, yeah. We got a lot of traffic coming through there, so we want to make sure that the lights that we have there are operating properly, that everything's working the best that it should.
Yeah, the amount of fatalities and accidents have
Yeah.
increased dramatically in that particular light.
Not fatalities, but accidents.
Okay.
Yes.
Something is going on that's changed over the last 4 or 5 years. Fortunately, they're not actual fatalities.
That's good. I was thinking there were some fatalities there, but
have been,
correct
for
me if
sure.
I'm wrong.
That's a scary word.
It is.
Comments or questions?
Do we have a dollar amount on what that
We do.
contract was going to be?
It'll be done in 2 phases. The second phase, the total, I believe, is $37,000 and some change. But if they come up with conclusive evidence during the preliminary findings, we may stop there and be able to make those improvements on our own. If not, then they'll go to a full design, and we'll apply for highway safety grant money to make those improvements.
And this
Money's available.
ordinance is going to put in the contingency for the second amount?
It is in there already.
Yeah.
And was this corner not studied a few years ago?
It
Didn't we?
was. I'm not sure what's happened because it's jumped way up on the list from what it was. I watched this list over the years, and I'm not sure what happened. Same thing with 44 and 14.
So on the previous study, it was much lower
Correct.
than it is recently. Okay.
You know, I'd be curious the times of days, or the time of day that the studies are conducted, if that makes a difference too. Are they going at the busy time of the day to do the study? You know, the last study, what time of day did they do the study? You know, that would be interesting to see.
Yeah, they'll look at all of the crash data that's available.
And the times they happen, hopefully.
Times they happen, the weather, the month, the ages, all that information's available to them. They'll do the traffic counts, they'll probably use radar units that'll count 24/7 for a period of time. Turn movements, they'll have all the data.
Any other comments or questions? What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Anybody want to put it in the consent agenda?
Consent.
Yes.
All right. Next item on the agenda is an ordinance approving the Design Review Commission changes. This is from Community and Economic Development. Ms. Wood?
Yes, this is something that has been reviewed, discussed, reviewed, changed, discussed, reviewed, discussed, changed over the last 5 years. Just since initially putting it on the committee a couple of months ago, and then reviewing it again through a second committee. And updates, the DRC has had 2, if not 3 meetings that they have had the opportunity to review, comment, discuss, and make their voices heard back to us. They have chose, again, not to review it, not to look at it. It was not on their last meeting agenda. They chose not to discuss it even when it was brought up. I am of the opinion that we should just go ahead and move this forward, that ultimately the decision is council's, and get it off the books.
So I met with the Design Review Commission at their last meeting, and before the meeting, I did talk to their current chair, and we had, the committee had moved this forward the prior Monday, which was only days before their meeting. And they informed me, according to our code 1434, that any issue that is under their consideration, that's something they would normally review, has to be sent to them 10 days before their meeting. Now, I know that there's some of this changes have been before them, but there were some changes before the last approval of the committee. So whether you want to call it a technicality or not, they wanted to have the ability to review these changes without shortening that 10-day period, which I believe they have a right to do. They did commit to putting it on their agenda for the January meeting. What I'd like to ask council to do is to postpone a decision about putting this on a regular agenda until our committee of the whole meeting in January, which is January 20th. If someone can make a motion to do that.
My comment was going to be that I do understand that we've had a lot of delays with it, but I was going to ask if we actually had someone from council communicating with Design Review, letting them know that we need their input back on this, and with your contact with them recently, that does, I think, kind of give an official word to them that we need this back from them. And I am okay with it being delayed until after they get a chance to look at that. I guess my concern is we didn't really have somebody from council that was putting the pressure on or saying directly, we need your input back immediately on this because it's moving forward. So
Yeah, I did emphasize the need to do that, and I told them that I would ask this committee of the whole to make the delay, but it would be up to a vote tonight. And if they didn't get the delay, even though it could still go multiple readings at a regular, from the first regular meeting, I said it could pass before they have a chance. So they decided for sure they want to review it at their January meeting, and if it gets moved on tonight, they will try to put together a special meeting of their commission
There shouldn't be a
beforehand.
try. There shouldn't be a
But-
try. They should do it.
I
I
feel
mean,
like-
Well, no, I mean, but they,
But we've
they are
delayed-
committed to doing it in January.
But we've delayed this for their benefit. Ultimately, anything that goes through DRC can be appealed to council, and it is council's choice to make any decisions on changes. They can always, even if council does approve this, they can always submit any request to make any different changes back to council at a later time.
Well, I mean, that sounds a bit inefficient to me.
I think waiting and fighting for 5 years to get this reviewed is inefficient use of time.
Well, but it's been delayed in various ways and for various reasons. It's not like this has been on an
There's
agenda
been
for
2
4
DRC
years.
meetings in the last 2 months that they could have discussed it and sent any type of response back to us, and they've not. They have actually just, it wasn't on their agenda, they didn't discuss it.
and they knew about it.
And they knew about it.
They did know about it, so that is not
But
correct
I'll
when
just
they said
repeat
they
that
did
it
not
was-
know about it.
It was changed.
Excuse me.
It was changed.
Mr. Soto, please come up.
Wait, this is my meeting. Mrs. Soto will let you speak, but I want council to weigh in on this first. And I did emphasize when I met with the Design Review Commission what the concern was. And that and the main concern I pointed out to them was that these proposed changes will shorten the time for which they will have to review anything to a maximum of 30 days in 2 meetings. Right now, it's 3 meetings, and there's built-in delays. So I think it's important for us to know what that means to the commission. If they believe 30 days is not long enough, I think we need to hear that. And the fact that this has been going on for so many years suggests to me that waiting another month is not huge. And the last point I'll make is, like I said, it may seem like a technicality, but according to our code that council has written, we have to provide this 10 days before the meeting, which we did not do. And I feel like we have to respect that. Any other council members?
No, I expect them to follow ordinances and laws as much as we are, so.
Mr. Sodal, if you would like to speak, since you are a member of the commission?
2 meetings. They had 2 meetings. The first meeting, or the last meeting, they brought us in when we had nothing on the agenda at all, except old business, which I would have expected that this was old business. But they didn't address it because they thought they didn't have enough people there to vote. They had enough people there to vote. Remember, Bob, that the word was, we'd like to have everybody here to vote. Well, it's really not, it's not our problem if people can't get out to vote, okay? This has been on the agenda for a long time to get this taken care of. This is exactly how we ended up spending $30,000 of taxpayers' money for a study by somebody that didn't do anything for us. Don't go there again. Don't get this balled up into a mess again. This thing needs to be brought to vote. Okay.
So,
I do believe that if it isn't brought to vote, there will be a slowdown in this, and we'll be in this again for months. I do believe. All these people up here are here to represent constituents and people in here. I'm one of those. I believe it should be brought to vote. If the other people haven't come there and want to talk about it, that's their prerogative.
Yeah, Mr. Selenius. And by the way, Mr. Selenius is a author of a lot of these changes. We thank you for your commitment to this, and certainly want to hear from you tonight.
Larry Selenius, 123 North Walnut Street. I would just remind all of you that members of the Design Review Commission could come to council like all of these folks have done, and they have not done so. They've had ample opportunities to respond to this.
Thank you. The last question I have is for the mayor. Mayor, this commission is really an administrative body. Do you have an opinion? Would you like to weigh in whether you think it's more prudent for council to delay this for a month to give the Design Review Commission the opportunity to review the full changes that have been proposed
The
before
statement
council.
that you made earlier is that this has been at it for quite a while. I have been going to the meetings. I was there. Rob did a very good presentation at that meeting. I'm forgetting it put to rest too, as far as that goes. But I don't think one more month would make any difference.
Are you in favor of delaying?
Yes, but this is council's decision at this point. It's their decision, not mine.
Okay, fair enough. Any other comments or questions?
I think it'd be nice to give them the 10 lawful days, but then hold them to that obligation. Whatever feedback they have for us then, we'll act upon it at that point.
And that would be it.
Okay, so would you be willing to make a motion to postpone this
Well,
to the next
hold on.
committee? Oh, yes.
So my question is, before we make a motion, so let's say we do move this forward, and we do move it, and we have 3 readings, would that give them time to take a look
Perhaps,
at it?
perhaps, but if 5 members of this council vote to suspend the 3
3
separate
meetings.
readings, it will be a decision before they would meet. So a motion and approval of a delay to postpone this for another month for the committee of the whole to decide would guarantee that they would have their meeting to discuss this.
Well, what makes me, wonder, do businesses, some of the complaints that we get from businesses that things get delayed, is this the same type of issue? And this is something we're trying to rectify, so this stuff doesn't happen. So I don't see the issue of moving this forward. And again, if things want to change along the way, we modify it. But again, this needs to happen for the betterment of our businesses and to move things forward so that they can help grow our downtown better. That's my opinion.
Does someone would like to make a
I'll
motion?
make the motion that we delay moving this on to the meeting next month and wait to act on it at next month's committee of the whole meeting so that they have an opportunity to meet, to discuss and recommend.
I'll second that.
Just because there seems to be a division, let's call the roll.
Mr. Kelfi?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. West?
No.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
No.
Ms. Michael?
No.
Mr. Harper?
No.
So we have 3 votes yes and 4. Okay, so this item will be moved on. We will not put this in the consent agenda. And Ms. Gregory, could you make sure that the Design Review Commission knows that this was not delayed?
Yes.
So that they have the opportunity to hold a special meeting
Okay.
before the January 5th meeting, I believe, is when our next regular meeting is.
I'll send an email tonight.
Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is approval of the Board of Tax Review members. This is from the Finance Director, Ms. Lawrence.
Yes, this item came to my attention that we need to put together an approval for members of our Board of Tax Review. It's a 2-year term, and we just haven't used the Board of Tax Review in a while, so those members are not approved right now. 2 of them need to be approved by council or appointed by council. Last time we spoke, I know Peter Martin was here, I think is interested in being one of them. I don't know if we have another one that anybody knows of that would be interested in doing this.
We do have another, but I hesitate to mention anyone's name without confirming that they were willing to serve.
Yeah, okay.
But I do believe we have a potential second member. And if we have more than 2, we could always vote on which 2 we want to appoint.
Right, and then one will be appointed by the mayor. So
Right.
3.
It's a board of 3 members.
So I'm not sure what we need to do with this today.
Just need to move it
Just
on to
move
the
on.
agenda for January,
Okay.
So will we have an answer by January about the other person?
hopefully. We'll do our, we'll do our best. And again, if anybody has somebody that they've thought would be good for this role, let Ms. Greger know.
Let me
so.
know, yeah.
And of course, you're Ms. Lawrence.
Thank you.
Okay, so what is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Consent.
Maybe not, since we have to announce names and we don't have those names yet.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is an ordinance approving the 2026 temporary budget. This is also from Finance?
And this is really a housekeeping item, something that we do every year to approve the temporary budget that will go into effect for January 1st, 2026.
And this will be on the special meeting on Monday, December 29th.
Right.
Questions or concerns? What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Okay, the next item is an ordinance accepting the distribution of income taxes collected in 2026. Ms. Lawrence?
Yep, another housekeeping item for the end of the year, we have to do an acceptance of the distribution of income tax for the county by the end of the year. This has not changed. We are not changing anything from last year's allocation.
Okay. What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Okay, the next item is an ordinance approving the adjustments to the estimated revenues and appropriations.
And one more final year, we true up all of the accounts to make sure we're within all of our audit requirements for funds to be in proper status before the end of the year.
Okay, any questions? Pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Okay, and that also will be on the special meeting on Monday. All right, the next item is an ordinance authorizing the execution of then and now certificates. Ms. Lawrence?
Should be my final one tonight, and this one does not need to be passed till January.
Right.
But it is my monthly then and now POs.
This is what we do almost on a monthly basis.
Did we get the list of those for this
Put
meeting?
it in the mailbox.
Yeah, they were in your mailbox.
Okay, in the mailbox, okay.
What's the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Would you like this in a consent agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the final item for the committee of the whole meeting is a resolution of appreciation for Cheryl Wood, our exiting council member. And tradition, we will be doing this on Monday at the special meeting. Some suggested, well, maybe this should be a surprise, but certainly if you wanted family members, friends to show up for the meeting, we wanted to let you know we were
Thank
going
you.
to honor you.
It's been an honor and a pleasure.
Likewise, from all of us.
Thank you.
What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Abstain.
Oh, resolution.
Yeah. A resolution.
Okay, before we end, I just want to announce that in the January meeting, that is an organizational meeting by charter, and we will be formally assigning people to their committees as chairs and members. We will have a new committee member or a council member, and we'll send out the revised list of where everybody is. But I did send, or you all know what your assignments are, those of you who are continuing. Some did give me some suggested changes. We will try to, accommodate everybody who wants to change. If you still have the idea to change something, please let me know as soon as possible. And we'll also be sending out the schedule of meetings for 2026. And with that, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn the committee of the whole meeting.
So moved.
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have adjourned from the committee of the whole meeting. I don't want to tempt fate by turning things off and back on. So I think if it's okay with everyone, we'll move, because it is past 6:30. We will start our special meeting of City Council for this evening, December 22nd. Ms. Greger, could you read the announcement?
You are hereby notified that a special meeting of the Ravenna City Council has been called for Monday, December 22nd, 2025, at 6:30 PM or immediately following the committee of the whole meeting at 6 PM. The purpose of the meeting is to discuss and/or act upon Resolution 2025-112 to allow the public to comment on Resolution 2025-112, declaring the necessity to increase the city's income tax by 0.25% to provide funds to support the planning and building of a new police and fire stations, as well as a new city hall, and ordinance 2025-132 to authorize the mayor to sign a contract with Hemling and appropriate the funds to complete the emergency repairs to a sanitary sewer along the bike and hike trail between Oakwood and North Diamond Streets.
Okay, we have that emergency ordinance just because it is an emergency. We want to make sure we get that done as soon as possible. Could you call the roll, Ms. Greger?
Mr. Gelfi?
Here.
Ms. West?
Here.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Here.
Mr. Maravich?
Here.
Ms. Michael?
Here.
Mr. Harper?
Here.
All right, everyone is present. We have a room full of people. We're going to start out with asking for public comment about ordinance that is designed to increase our earned income tax by 0.25% for the purpose of building safety buildings and city hall. We don't have anybody sign, we didn't ask you to sign up, so if anybody wants to make a comment, please raise your hand, and ma'am, please come up to the microphone. If you'd like to announce your name, you're welcome to, otherwise it's not a requirement.
Hi, my name's Karen Anderson. I'd like to know from the city officials, how much money do you have put aside for the safety buildings?
Just for clarity, I mean, I know we tend to do this informally, but public comment isn't necessarily meant for debate, and there's not a requirement that we necessarily answer your questions, but if Ms. Lawrence would like to, she certainly can.
We have started putting aside about $300,000 a year towards starting the process of this, which is just design, and discussions. And that just started last year.
So the safety building's been needed for many years. So in the last 5 to 10 years, what financial planning was done for that?
Does anybody, I can go ahead. I know we've been talking about this for many years. I've been here for 6 years. I believe we've been talking about it longer than that. I don't know if anybody else can comment to that.
Okay. Now, I do believe the police and the fire station is definitely a need for the city. We definitely need that. But is City Hall actually needed? It's not as critical as the police and fire station. Wouldn't that save some money instead of becoming a tax burden?
I think with that, the City Hall, I will tell you, it was all included in the price, where it wasn't, correct me if I'm wrong, but to do the whole amount, the cost, I'm trying to remember, was it?
Say this.
It was, because this area that,
In a development project
Yeah.
like this, it's always more financially feasible to build up than to build out, or to build a standalone building in the future. So if we waited to do the safety buildings, or if we did the safety buildings and waited to do a separate city hall at a later date, it would actually cost twice as much at that later date to construct a city hall. And it's more efficient to have it all in one campus so that everything's together.
So we couldn't just do a police station, fire station, and then come back and do the City Hall?
It wouldn't be as financially responsible.
yeah. That's what I was trying to get at. Thanks, Cheryl.
You're welcome.
Because it was talked about both ways. And then also there was talk that the courthouse needed possibly this property as well for extending. So there was a lot of different things that played into that decision.
Okay, back in June, there was an article in the Portager about extra money from the county. Did anybody see if we could get any of that extra money towards the building? Or I don't know what you can use it for. I'm sure there's stipulations with it. But did anybody see about that?
I'm not aware of any extra money we qualified for.
Just again, for clarity, I mean, tonight's meeting is to gauge public comment. And, what is your opinion and the opinion of people here who have read about it, who are under the, know what we're trying to do, which is basically increase our income tax. So what we're trying to get from you is your opinion on this. We'll be presenting, assuming this moves forward, all kinds of efforts to educate the public. And we don't always have all the answers to the questions you may be asking tonight. But again, the purpose is for you to give us input so we can make an informed decision
I
about.
just wanted to know if everybody's done their due diligence to get, before they put a burden on us.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, and
I
that-
would say we have.
And that's reasonable. I will say that there has been a committee that's been working really hard together, looking at different things. I know the finance department has worked really hard to see different options and opportunities other than an income tax of how we can do this. So there has been a lot of moving parts and pieces going on in the background to try to make sure we're making the best informed decision when it comes to this. So hearing from our residents just helps us with that. So we know what the issues and concerns are so that we can make sure that we're providing the proper information to you guys. And Karen, if you would like to sit down and just have a conversation about it, and I would love to. If you would like to sit down and just chat about it so we could hear your concerns, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Who else would like to make a public comment to City Council tonight? Yes, sir.
Yeah, hello. My name is Jed Wise. I'm not sure if anybody received my letter. I think.
Oh, yes, we did.
Yes.
But I'm going to read the letter and make a couple comments.
Sure.
The proposed new income tax increase. The city of Ravenna is heading in the wrong direction. Ravenna currently has the highest income tax in Portage County and now wants to join the ranks of the top 1.5% tax cities listed in RETA, which is the Regional Income Tax Authority. On their website, it represents 469 jurisdictions, which 48% of the cities are taxed between 0 and 1%. 13% of the cities are taxed at 1.1 to 1.5%. 27% of the cities are taxed at 1.6 to 2%. 4% of the cities are taxed at 2.1 to 2.25%. And 6.5% of cities are taxed at 2.3 to 2.5%, which includes Ravenna. So Ravenna is at the 2.5% rate, if I'm correct. 6 cities out of those 469 are taxed at 2.6 to 3%, and the Ravenna city leaders need to visit those cities like Youngstown, Euclid, Bedford. You'll have to print out the 469, but they're in there. I think the right direction for the city of Ravenna would to be lower the tax rate to 2.25% and learn to operate within a budget and save money before you obligate the taxpayers to a 30-year loan on a building. I mean, we're obviously at the highest tax rate on that list. But wait, maybe the city should meet with the Ravenna Township and discuss meeting to save money for both entities, maybe sell Sumbo Valley. Why would a company want to relocate in Ravenna when employees would be taxed at the highest rate in the state? I mean, if an employee works in Shalersville or Kent, they'd be hundreds of dollars. That doesn't sound like a lot, but that employee may save a couple $100 living somewhere else or working somewhere else. Why are people leaving states like New York and California? Mainly taxes. Your customers are your taxpayers. I'm a lifelong resident of Ravenna, and our family operated a business in this town for over 85 years. We had to operate within a budget and price our products and services to be competitive. That's the letter I wrote. I wondered, are you guys going to send a letter to every person that works in the city of Ravenna and inform them that there's going to be a tax increase and you're going to be taxed at the highest rate in the state of Ohio? Or just put it up for ballot so people that are on social services and they vote for everything, but they don't even pay taxes? What about the people that actually pay the taxes? Is this going to be sent and inform people at Robinson Memorial, the Portage County Administration Building, all the other big companies around? Everybody going to get informed about this? Are they going to be happy about this? Because it's not a competitive situation. And I live in Ravenna Township. I've worked all my life in Ravenna. I lived in Ravenna half my life. I live in Ravenna Township. But you're taxing people that work in Ravenna, but then they leave, they can't vote. Is this actually legal?
Yes.
That's my comment.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And who else would like to speak to council tonight? Please, yes, ma'am, please come to the podium.
Hi, I'm Donna Gray-Wise, and he's my better half. Thank you. I was able to work with Mayor Seaman for a number of years on our Community Improvement Corporation Board, and we thought long and hard about how do we incent people to move to Ravenna? What do we need to do to beautify Ravenna from a design and review commission? What's going to draw and bring in new businesses? And certainly Dennis West has helped tremendously to bring in some bigger companies. The largest concern most of those companies had at the time, and I'm sure you know, is like, where do they live? Where are they going to live? There's no housing here. Where do they eat? There's no place to go eat. I mean, you're not going to incent people to move here, come here, reside here, work here, or even build a business here at this type of a tax situation. I mean, it just, we certainly couldn't incent more people. Dennis has done a great job, but we have an awful lot, and Cheryl knows this, a lot of open retail space downtown. Jed and I try to frequent all of those local small businesses. But this is, sad. And I too have been a lifelong resident, left for about 20-some years, come back, value the city tremendously. It's a tremendous location for commuters to live, to go. I worked in Mayfield Heights for 30 years and commuted from here. So, I mean, it's a doable, great city place, great convenience but you're going to scare people away. And I didn't quite understand some of the proposal I read with respect to, you don't want to charge the property owners more. Let's just make this an income tax, not an increased property tax. And I'm like, well, we got a lot of what I would consider, in my opinion, bad landlords in this town. I mean, they can get away with a lot of cheap rent. They don't have to upgrade, and pretty hard on, Mr. Finney here to have to do all the inspections and zone, and we're not finding them enough. We don't charge them enough. And look at the renters we have. Look at the people walking around our town. I mean, this is a scary thing. And he does better research than I with respect to the statistics on it all. But the fact remains that people aren't going to want to live here, and they don't. My daughter's not going to move back here. Friends I know that people live around here aren't moving back here. And why would they not? Why would it be cheaper to live in Kent? Cheaper to live, work? I mean, I think that this is a really serious situation here. And I hope that you do take that into consideration on what we need to do to draw people into our town and appreciate what we have.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll make a point just to let you know what we're doing tonight. This is kind of a public hearing. It's not formally labeled a public hearing, and it's not a requirement. For this particular ordinance that is under consideration by City Council, it's not a requirement to have a public venue like this. So, but Council wanted it because even though I know we're hearing some negative comments about the particular ordinance and the increase, we want to hear from you, and that's why we're having this meeting tonight. And we're taking your concerns very seriously. Who else would like to speak? Yes, ma'am, please come up.
Carmen Lodato, 222 Madison Street. And I just wanted to speak tonight. First of all, I wanted to sit back and hear some of these other comments. It's one thing to read the comments on social media. It's another thing to hear from the people that come up here. But generally what's out there is this hasn't garnered much support. And people can hear that it's been I know that the property was acquired some years ago where the old high school was to do this project. And I don't think that you'll find anybody sitting in this room that says that they don't want the best for our safety services. But we're in a critical economic situation here. And for most of us in Ravenna, I know me included, my house payment went up $320 a month. I'm fortunate, I work in Youngstown, fortunate, so I'm taxed at the 3%, but my husband is not. So this is potentially gonna cost us another $800 a year to have this. And there's going to be other people in this same situation. And so what I think would benefit people is if we would have more information before this goes on to the ballot. What is this exactly going to look like? And I think that's might be what's frustrating people. And I believe you when you say that you're working on your due diligence and finding a matrix of funding that isn't so reliant on the taxpayer. But we don't know what that is because that hasn't been communicated to us. you know, I know I draw on this experience a lot, but this is not my first rodeo. I did this, I was part of a city council that did this down the road. And we spent 2 years planning this. I mean, diligently planning and communicating with the public, with artist renderings, with contracts, with estimates, with a cost-benefit analysis. And that way, when we did go to the voters, we only needed a 0.8 mil levy, which people supported because it was peanuts. And we were able to prove that we did everything we could to minimize that impact. So that is part of my concern. I do think that it's important for the people to know behind me, because there's a lot of new faces here, is that one of the things that was talked about on the agenda was this contract with Triad. And so on the one hand, we're talking about how this is just a public comment period that we don't necessarily need to have. It sounds very non-committal, but then we also have something on the agenda which is very committal, which is committing a hell of a lot of money to Triad Communications to try to sell this project to the public. And that is imminent because of the timeline of putting something on the ballot. So my recommendation, and I'm not sworn into council yet, but my recommendation to all of you as somebody who has served for 20 years on some type of levy committee or another, or some campaign or another, is that you take some more time to consider this and do a better job of communicating with the public what exactly you're doing, what exactly this is going to look like. Or it's just going to repeatedly fail, and all the money that we're planning to throw at Triad is going to just be flushed down the toilet.
Just for clarity, the contract with Triad has not been passed. It's just been sent forward. So it's not a fait accompli. And they could pass an ordinance to go forward with the income tax and not pass an ordinance to contract with Triad. I mean, that's always a possibility.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is something's moving forward. that is moving forward, that the plan is very much to try to put this on the levy for the spring ballot. That was discussed at the last meeting, that was the goal, because there's going to be things on the November ballot about repealing taxes.
They haven't
And that should
approved
open
that yet.
ourselves up to more of a macro discussion about how Ohioans are feeling in general, about the amount that we're being taxed and the services that we're receiving in return. I would like to see that, or options. I know that what you're saying about how if we don't include the city hall now, that it could be potentially cost down the road, but people need to see that. They need to see it in black and white. They need to see it in front of them. And that needs to come from the administration, that needs to come from the legislature before it ever comes to our pocketbooks. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you. Other members of the public, we'd like to hear from all of you if you're so inclined to get up and tell us what you're thinking. There we go. Thank you, sir.
Jake. I have a question, a couple of them. We gave 0.25%, how many years ago to you, Jake? Yeah. I can't hear you. 17? How long is that gonna stay in effect?
The safety forces, that's permanent.
The 0.25% that they got.
No,
Yes.
the 0.2%.
They got.
Yeah, that's permanent. That was a permanent.
Okay. The sidewalk, what's that?
Yeah, streets and sidewalks were permanent as
The
well.
sidewalk was 0.25%. How long is that gonna stay on?
That's permanent. This one is 30 years, because that's how much it will cost just to pay the cost of the buildings.
What's that? Oh, I thought you were talking to me. And how come we don't say the Pledge of Allegiance before this meeting?
We say the Pledge of Allegiance before our regular meeting, not every meeting of council.
Shouldn't matter, should it?
No.
Well, I don't know. But to be honest with you, it's never been a tradition to do it. It is in our agenda for the regular meeting, so we have to do it according to agenda. It's never been a tradition that I'm aware of city council to have the Pledge of Allegiance on all the other committee meetings. We'll take it into consideration, but it's certainly not a requirement.
No, it shouldn't be a requirement, it should be a privilege to do it.
No, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you.
And I do agree with everybody that's spoken so far. You will tax us right out of anybody wanting to move to Ravenna. And the school system, they passed their levy. What's the ranking on city schools now in Ohio? Have they gone up any?
Well, the levy just passed
They
in
haven't started
November,
collecting.
so they wouldn't even start to get any numbers on that quite yet.
Okay, when will
Yeah.
they get numbers on that? In September? Okay, that's all I had to say.
Thank you.
Another thing, the 14 and 88, Bob and Jakey, you know, the delay is what, 4 seconds on the red light, from yellow to red? Well, because I go out that way all the time. Why not increase the time rather than doing a $30,000 inspection?
Just so we're clear, this meeting is not, that was, we appreciate your, yeah, well, we'll look into it, but we're here to talk about the safety buildings in City Hall. I'm sorry,
Okay,
sir.
all right.
Thank you, though. Thank you very much. Other people who, does anybody want to speak in favor of the ordinance tonight? That would be a refreshing comment. If not, that's fine. Yes, sir. Please step up.
Speaking in two different positions, as some of you may know, I actually work for the city. I work for the police department. And although I can't speak for the fire department, I would like to invite any of you to come take a tour of the station, see for it yourself. It doesn't matter to me if it's 1% or a quarter of 1%. If we're spending money, what are we getting for it? And I think that the best way to judge that would be to see it for yourself. Come by. I'll be happy to give you a tour during business hours. I'll even come in on my time off. If you want to see the station, I'll do that. I can't speak for the fire department, but I did record a video tour with Adam George, and we're hoping to be able to get that online for the people that want to actually tour it, to see what the fire department is like there. So officially, my house is your house. Come on by. I'll be happy to give everyone a tour of that. I did the math for what it's going to cost my wife and I. We live here in Ravenna. It's going to cost us an extra about $300 a year, and I think it's absolutely worth it. So that's my comment.
Thank you, sir. Don't be shy. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am. Please step up to the podium. Hi.
I'm Barb Niemiller. I committed just about this time last year to start to come to these meetings every week, as long as I could. I also bought a house in Ravenna, so I had the choice to leave Ravenna. I've been here 56 of my 58 years, and I'm constantly fighting and arguing with people, saying, oh, Ravenna sucks. Ravenna's awful. Ravenna is just terrible. But when you want to do something to make it better, and they really need new buildings, when you want to do it better, nobody's interested in doing that either. And you see the same people over and over say that they hate it here, but they don't want to do anything to make it better. And I believe that we really need this for our city. Plenty of cities have done it around us, Brimfield, Shalersville. It's been there for a while, but they have a really nice, Kent's. Streetsboro, yeah, they just opened theirs. And I just don't understand, you don't want to make it better. I could have chosen to move to Kent, but their property taxes are way higher than Ravenna's. So, you got to weigh it out. And I just wanted to say something good about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate that. Yes, sir.
Larry Selenius, 123 North Walnut Street. Just two thoughts. People have been saying this increases the cost of living here. Basically, it does not. It increases the cost of working in Ravenna. The increase in the cost of living here would be negligible. And the other thing that I think of is compared to the state income tax, compared to real estate taxes, and compared to the federal income tax, the city income tax is quite small.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Just spent last week at our local hospital as a patient. And I was certainly glad that they're there. Just as I'm glad that he's there and the fire department is there. Yes, it costs money, but if I'm somewhere and they need to come and beat on my chest, I want to make sure that they have the equipment and the building, it's closer to me or whatever, to get there to save lives. This is small pennies. This is small pennies to give us good service that we need. Yes, we probably could have done this like 20 years ago, but we weren't in that condition then. We didn't have that money then. We have a way to do it now. If we don't do it now, we also leave ourselves open to lawsuits about this building over here because it is not set up for females to be firemen or policemen. We need to handle this. We need to handle it now. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Other comments? I think I speak for council that this has been an education, and we appreciate it when our residents step up and give us their opinion on something we have to consider. And this is something we don't consider very often, right? This is a once-in-a-lifetime deal, and we know it's going to impact our residents. So, again, please, if you haven't spoken to council tonight, we would really appreciate hearing from you. If not, then we will move on with the agenda for our special meeting. Last call. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody else wanting to comment. All right, let's move on to the agenda. Next item on our special meeting agenda, okay, now I have to get my bearings straight here, is ordinance number 2025-132.
An ordinance authorizing the appropriation of $23,000 from Fund 677 and further authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Hemling Excavating to perform the Oakwood and Diamond Street emergency sewer improvements and declaring an emergency.
Okay, this is from the Utilities Committee. Mr. Moskin.
Yeah, this is something that's been discussed and something that's, I'll consider critical and needs to be done as soon as it can get started.
And I believe the appropriation is an additional amount of money we need, not the total amount for this emergency repair. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Any questions or concerns about this? Okay, do we have a motion to suspend the 3 separate readings?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Kelfi?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms.
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Do we have a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Kelfi?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And a motion to approve the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2025-132 has been approved. We have nothing else on our agenda tonight. I'd like to thank everyone for their patience in showing up tonight, for your candid opinion about our ordinance regarding the safety in City Hall buildings. But I guess our business tonight is done. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, folks.